Everything before has been more or less a crap shack in comparison to this. And you don't see very many people other than an occasional guard. There's no one who even gives you the time of day. They may go in one house and out the other, but they don't even care about you. Greenpoint Keep itself is what outside appearances would label an alien ruin. In places where you would normally see cracks or crumbled debris or anything like that, it's all been cleaned up. So this has the moonstone / marble appearance of an alien ruin, but it is clean, and it has these banners which are green with bear claws on them, which is the sign of the House of Quarantine. There doesn't seem to be any guards outside.
I'm kind of
trailing.
I'm gonna trail, but like peek in and see what's in the immediate entrance as they go in, and then decide based on what I see whether or not I should come in with them.
2 initial guards ignore you. However, a guard from a alcove comes up to greet you and tells you to halt in the most Elder Scrolls 1 fashion possible. Revan Serethi, I assume, the guard says, ignoring Coltane completely.
Yes, that's me.
The Duke is waiting for you. Please, come on through.
He doesn't go anywhere without his bodyguard.
Alright, then I go straight through the hallway out into this big room.
The guards are watching as you guys pass through, and as a result, they do not notice Ral as he sneaks by them, because their eyes are not fixated on Ral. In a large antechamber. It looks like this was a room that would have held Valra stone or some kind of other piece of treasure, but in place of the metal cage that would be at the center of the room, instead there's a throne, and there is the Duke sitting on that throne, as well as a Khajiit steward. In addition, there are knights, at each corner of the room, keeping their eye on the Duke at all times. For the most part, this is an alien ruin that, simply put, has been retrofitted into a palace. And the Duke's banners drape down the northern walls, which you can see leads up into what appears to be a red-carpeted area, his personal quarters, as well as some utility stairs going down to the west, which also have various servants scuffling about. No one of consequence like an actual guard, but definitely every part of this palace is occupied. The Duke himself wears a golden crown, and he has a long beard. He is attempting to be regal, even though he doesn't look like he was born to it.
Duke Rasselfon Corrin, I'm Revan Serethi, and I heard you were looking for me.
Indeed, in the same way that the Mages Guild is looking for you, I got to you first. Your reputation precedes us as a skilled Telvanni. What we need is a fresh insight on this whole situation. Have you heard about the cause of this conflict that besets our lands?
I understand your grievances and why you want more territory.
It's not about territory. My grandson is being persecuted by the Imperials. I'm trying to keep him safe. Let me start from the beginning. My son married into the Septim line. Or so we thought, because it turned out the heiress died. And here we are with a legitimate Septim heir, my heir, who is being persecuted as some kind of doppelganger, some kind of person who isn't who they say he is. I cannot stand this. Blood calls out for blood. And my blood, my heir, the Septim heir, needs to be protected. Here's where you come in. You have an affinity for magical objects. I know that. I'm willing to give to you some of the best artifacts our dukedom has in exchange for finding evidence that will prove that my grandson is not a Daedra in human form, that is not a doppelganger, I need you to find the Totem of Tiber Septim that can only be used by a Septim heir. If you can do that, you can do with the totem afterward what you want. You can do with artifacts what you want. I just want to see my heir vindicated of this terrible, terrible offense.
So if I were to go through with this, where do I find this Totem of Tiber Septim?
It would be in High Rock. We can transport you at least to the border of High Rock. That's not a problem. But it would be up to you to find it. We believe that it is either in the castle of Daggerfall or the castle of Wayrest. We don't know yet, but we will have our agents there helping you every step of the way. We need to bring the totem to my grandson, and if he can use it, if it acknowledges him, the artifact it was linked to, what granted it its massive power is gone, it will respond to him, it will talk to him, if he is of worthy blood and not a Daedra. I believe he's of worthy blood. I have spilled Imperial blood proving he is of the Septim line, that he's not a Daedra. And I swear, I will not let the Imperials have their way and martyr him just because they're having riots in the Imperial City. Even before that conversation started, while the guards were fixated on the Duke and what he was saying, Ral was sneaking up behind.
You just want to check out his underwear drawer instead, go to his quarters.
I just want to go to the kitchen and poison all his food because I'm a dick. But
All right.
let's try and head through to the guarded area behind. So I'm gonna try and sneak around. The stakes are pretty high. Although good thing I have Chameleon.
No, the steaks are in the kitchen.
Shut up.
They do not see you. You head on through effortlessly. Spiraling up the staircase, you don't notice any evidence of guards or anyone. This seems to be the Duke's personal chambers. Various dressers, a small, what looks like bath area, but it's all in a gigantic open space where you can see from one end to the other as if it were a part of an alien ruin that again has been retrofitted into a normal palace.
I'm gonna head through the room and look for the most valuable kind of thing.
There appears to be a set of armor on the northern wall. It seems to gleam with silver and gold. It's very large and bulky. If a guard were to see you with it, they would know immediately that you stole it. But there are also a couple jewelry boxes and other things on a table nearby. This is all near his bed. So it seems like the northern area of this particular room is indeed where he sleeps, and thus keeps his most valuable things. Now, to the east, west, and north, you can see windows overlooking the city of Greenpoint.
I'm gonna rummage through those jewelry boxes and see what I find.
See a couple of gold rings and a few silver necklaces, things like that. It doesn't look like any of this has any sentimental value other than, hey, I gave you a gold necklace, if you know what I mean. There are 2 gold rings, 1 beaded silver necklace, 1 silver medallion, and a couple little buttons that would go into a formal dress coat, as well as a few what look like worthless tassels that would go on to the pauldrons of a dress uniform if the Duke were to go into battle or something.
I'm just gonna take the 2 gold rings, the beaded silver necklace, and the silver medallion, and leave the fashionable trinkets where they are.
Oh, there's a desk on the northwestern corner, but there doesn't seem to be anything treasure related on it. It just seems to be various notes and documents and papers, imperial correspondence, things like that. Nothing of tangible value beyond what might be written on their pages.
Well, let's have a read. I'm gonna go over to those documents and sift through them and see what I can discern from them.
There is an order to relinquish his grandson to the Imperial forces. This is signed by the Elder Council. Chancellor Okado's signature is on it. It pretty much states that his grandson is under suspicion of being a Daedra and a pretender and one of Jaegertharn's sympathizers. The list of charges is actually quite large, but in general, it seems like his grandson has been indicted with several things, and they're ordering that he be turned over. That's one document. The document underneath that has to do with the amount he's paying the local militia members and how he's going about recruiting the various peasants who didn't have work before this conflict came into being, and how he's more or less subsidizing them out of his own coffers. Everything else is boring. How much wood we chopped, how much ore we got, you know, all of the basic things that go with running a country, or in this case, a dukedom.
Seeing as there's nothing else here really to see, I would love to get that armor for Coltane, but I just think it's too impractical to steal. So he's gonna, and he did try and screw me over before, so I don't really care.
They didn't see you. There are a few servants as you're passing by. To the south, it looks like it is heavily guarded, but you can see from here various weapon racks, and whereas you can see various peasants traveling in between the east and the west, out to the Duke's main area and back in. So this seems like a service entrance of sorts.
Do I smell any food coming from that direction?
You smell food. Absolutely. The staircase has various peasants moving back and forth, some carrying things to the knight's quarters, others not. The peasants don't notice you. You manage to skirt by them through the shadows with your chameleon on, no problem. There seems to be a twisting staircase going down into what looks to be a large kitchen area / storehouse. Again, it's another large antechamber which would normally contain traps or something else, but has been retrofitted into a kitchen / storage area. There are some guards that you can see on the northwestern corner that are keeping an eye on the food preparation. A Breton who is actively going about the cooking, as well as an orc, the supply man. And he goes between the crates and grabs some wheat, goes back over. There's a lady who seems to be sorting the supplies, making sure that the orc has everything he needs the moment he gets over there. But in general, whatever the cook provides is being watched by one knight. Whatever the suppliers provide is being watched by another knight. And there is a chamber which looks very large past the knights. It's not being used. It's going somewhere. You just don't know where.
I'm gonna sneak around.
That sweet roll that was given to Coltane is nothing. It's rubbish compared to the delectable treats, sugar-coated treats that are being made right here. And the guards are watching them being made.
As stealthily as I can and as much in the shadows as possible to where the sugar-coated treats are being made. I'm not going to worry about the supply area. I'm just going to go straight to the food. And something.
A rat immediately runs out as you're doing
Not
this.
Again.
The guard runs up and says, "Another one!" And he takes a swing at it. The guard fails to hit the rat, and it immediately jumps and bites the orc. And the orc screams and tries to smash it with what looks like a meat tenderizer. The orc misses with his meat tenderizer, and the rat continues north and seems to be approaching you.
Oh, shit. I'm gonna slowly step backwards and hope that it runs for either the food, the other guard, or the food, or the chef.
The rat immediately lunges for you. You manage to evade the rat. It jumps over your head, bounces off the wall, and skirts on up to up the path to the main chamber. The guard here notices and moves over to the cook, and now the delectable treats are being well guarded.
Yeah, alright. I am going to try and sneak my way around, and I'm basically gonna get out as silently as I can, get out a certain poison from my inventory.
Did you see that rat just now? Yeah, it seems to have ran up. Should we go tell anyone about it? Nah, like they'll take care of it. Okay, and then the guard goes back to his post.
Pull out my strong, deadly poison.
He notices that something is going on, that there's a chameleon creature, something out of the ordinary here. You hear that standard sound you've heard in Oblivion so many times. Stop! He moves up to the sugary treats. He hasn't identified you for you. He only sees this chameleon thing, this distorted, transparent thing. But the other guard here stop as well, takes a step forward, and this guard draws his sword as he moves toward the sugary treats. So the cook lunges back against the wall.
Yeah, I want to step to his side as he does that and kind of just ram the neck of the poison into his mouth.
You successfully slip by him to the side. He's very confused. He's still in the middle of shouting stop, but that chameleon figure that he had seen has disappeared.
I will take my chance, my luck, and my that I've been given, and I'm just gonna run down the hall past him. Sadly,
the guard manages to catch a glimpse of your silhouette passing through. He finishes drawing his sword and immediately runs around with his sword drawn. The other guard runs up to him and says, "What's going on? An intruder!" So they're looking down that hall.
Alright, so I'm pulling out a dart. I'm dipping it in the poison which I just had out, so it won't use much of it, but it's on there. And then I'm going to throw it as hard as I can at the guard who I slipped past already, who's kind of seen me, and I'm going to try and hit his skin right on his face.
He receives the dart in his neck and immediately starts to tremble. The poison works quickly as he falls to his knees. The other guard still hasn't seen you. He's only seen the guard he ran up to, who shouted intruder, falling to his knees and trembling.
Yeah, I want to throw a dart at the other one.
He also receives the dart to his neck and falls over. The first guard dies on the spot. The second one begins to cough up pus from his mouth. He seems to be somewhat resistant to the poison, but it's definitely taking its toll on him, but he's not dead yet. The orc runs over to see what's going on. The cook and everyone is just wondering what the hell is going on here. The orc is the only one who seems to be actually getting up and checking the body, whereas the others seem to be a more hands-off peasant approach. But nobody here, not the guard who's actively dying right now, nor any of the onlookers have seen you yet. The woman does not see you at all. The orc is aware something is going on. He notices shadows shifting around. He still hasn't identified you yet. He jumps to alert. He pulls out his meat tenderizer. He's looking at shadows. Two guards just died. There's just a room with a few shadows here and there, and he's looking from shadow to shadow.
I'm gonna try and head back over to that food.
The cook runs up in the opposite direction of you, becoming less aware of the surroundings. The orc, on the other hand, takes a kind of central stance in the room and says, something's going on. The woman who was actively going through the supplies, you think? A dead guard and a dying guard. At least you think he's dying. He's like foaming out the mouth. He's kind of shuddering. She runs over to try to, stabilize him, which is like the worst thing you can do if someone's, like in a seizure. But she does anyway because it's instinctive. Like he's thrashing about, and the orc has completely detached from her and is looking around for any kind of sign of movement, whatever caused this. This orc he's ready for blood.
All right. Well, now that I'm at the food, I'm gonna marinate these sweet treats with some of this strong, deadly poison.
You successfully poison all of them. At least 2 of them are completely undetectable. The other one, you were a little sloppy. You may have poured some on the table too, but the at least 2 of the treats entirely undetectable. The orc immediately starts running toward the hallway. I'm gonna go tell the guards about this, as he runs off. So he's got quite a lead on you, and he seems to be a very athletic person, despite having been, just carrying supplies around. So he's actually going to go alert the guards about this.
Quick, chase him down, poison dart.
Yeah. I think I'm going to throw a dart at the back of his big bald head.
Your dart misses him, hits the wall, chink. He does not notice your dart. He just keeps on running. The lady is holding the dying guard right now, looking into his eyes as he's shaking. She doesn't know what to do. The other guy's like, his hands are like, I don't know if I should touch this dead guy.
I'm going to actually sneak past them and head back down this chamber because, no one saw me.
The man catches a silhouette through the darkness, but he doesn't see you. He just sees kind of this shifting shadow. He doesn't know what to make of it. He just kind of freaks out, starts running, incomprehensible gibbering as he runs out of the larder. It leaves the woman alone with the dying guard.
I'm just gonna head on down here.